Hello everyone. So today we won't be analyzing any UFO clips, but instead I'll be sharing things that I found this week around the internet. Let's go ahead and call it UFO news. And also, we'll be watching one clip that one of you guys sent in. These will be quick stories, so let's go ahead and begin. First, we'll take a look at two clips coming to us from France.
Quoi ce bordel? Regarde, regarde.
Ouais.
C'est quoi ce bordel?
Mais ça va.
Mais c'est quoi? Mais c'est quoi ça? Attends.
Putain, merde. Merde.
C'est quoi ce truc? C'est quoi ce truc?
Attends,
Maman, viens voir.
c'est quoi l'histoire là?
Quoi? Qu'est-ce qu'il y a?
Ben regarde là-haut.
Ah,
Oh mon dieu, qu'est-ce qui se passe?
Ben je sais pas. C'est quoi ce truc?
putain, bordel.
Ce truc.
Mais ça bouge.
Putain, mais ça doit être bordel.
Waouh.
Oh.
Aïe, aïe.
Attends. Alors.
Trop bizarre.
Ouais.
Aïe.
Oh putain.
Pretty extraordinary. I originally wanted to make a complete video featuring this clip because of how odd and realistic it looks. At first, this object didn't really look like a drone because 1. The object was very bright, 2. It made crazy turns and had an unusual shape, and 3. It didn't make much noise. If you've ever been close to a drone as this thing is to the cameraman, you know that these drones can be kind of loud, but in this video you can't hear it. At first glance, it reminded me of a possible cylindrical UFO of sort. Looked really cool. Unfortunately, it was a hoax put together by a French prankster, and while none of us on the team here can speak French, people assured me that this is what it was. Like I've said in the past, I like showing you guys these videos in case you run into them later on other sites and wonder what it is. This way you could be well informed. This seems to be no more than a prank. But if you guys know any better, please let me know in the comments down below, because people have mentioned that they've seen things like this in the past that have turned out not to be drones. Next is something that's actually very important to our UFO community. Avril Haines, the Director of National Intelligence, who oversees all 16 US spy agencies including the FBI and CIA, was speaking at the Our Future in Space event at the Washington National Cathedral, and she said this.
D&I Haines, on this topic of life out there, you issued an extraordinary preliminary assessment in June on unidentified aerial phenomena, is the new term of art. To summarize that report, you studied 144 reports from US government sources. 80 had multiple sensors that had made the identifications. In 18 of these instances, observers, I'm quoting, reported unusual UAP flight characteristics. You sorted these into 5 different bins, the last called just other. I want to ask you to share with the audience your takeaway after the completion of that report and what your own view is as you look at the evidence.
Yeah, I mean, I think the bottom line is that we don't understand everything that we're seeing, and that's probably not surprising to anybody in many respects. But it was a report that really, Congress asked us to produce a report that assessed what we saw as the threat, essentially, from unidentified aerial phenomena, and what our sort of best understanding was of the different reports that we had identified. And it stretched over from, I think, 2004 through to 2021. The different reports that you indicated, 144 of them. And we had different categories, as you said. So one of them was airborne clutter, another was natural phenomenon, another was foreign adversaries, a fourth one was related to sort of US government or industry developmental programs, and then the fifth one was other. And that basically indicated that we were pretty sure we weren't going to be able to characterize every single one of these reports in the various categories that we'd identified because, frankly, we were not able to understand everything about it. And a large portion of that is based on the fact that we don't have a consistent way of reporting this information. We need to integrate, frankly, a lot of data that we get. We need to get better at collecting information that's useful to us from different sensors. that are available to us, and we have to deepen our analysis in these areas. And that's something that, you know, frankly, probably also doesn't surprise you, in the sense that that's how we typically approach our intelligence work. And the main issues that Congress and others have been concerned about are basically safety of flight concerns and counterintelligence issues. But of course, there's always the question of, is there something else that we simply do not understand that might come extraterrestrially?
How would we know if we were being observed, for example? That's, I find, a question people pose to me often in the weeks before this session. What is the tradecraft?
Well, the tradecraft isn't any different for unidentified aerial phenomenon than it is for the rest of our work in the intelligence community, which is to say that, you know, we do our work very much as I was indicating. We sort of, you know, collect all of the information we can through a variety of different sensors. People are reporting things, we're picking up things technically, we're doing a variety of work to try to understand what it is that we're seeing. We are then taking other information that we have to determine, is it something that we know about in that area? Is there some other reporting that we might not normally think of as being connected? And then we do our analysis, as we normally would, to sort of say, okay, put it into context. What are the likely possible options? How do we characterize it, bucket it, and think about it? All of that is sort of the standard way in which you work. But it doesn't mean that that we are definitely going to be able to tell if we're being observed under the circumstances. I mean, I think there's a lot of different ways in which that might be revealed, but certainly we're working to make sure that we understand what we do see and what phenomenon is identified, and otherwise we're going to have to wait for Bill's science work, I think, to actually reveal some of these additional possibilities.
So what appears to have happened here is that Ms. Haines has possibly cracked the door open to the possibility of extraterrestrials being cause for concern. I mean, this is the director of the National Intelligence, after all, and she's actually saying this? But did you all catch on how she kind of stumbles on her words when she begins to mention the subject of extraterrestrials?
Is there something else that we simply do not understand that might come extraterrestrially? Could
it be that she actually knows more than what she's leading on? And maybe she's actually nervous to be questioned on the knowledge? Or is it that the subject in general just makes her nervous? I don't know, but what I do know is that we're in for some interesting times ahead. You can be sure of that. Next is this short clip with no sound that I really liked. Let's take a look. Now, there's no real story behind this clip, but I'd never seen it before, and I'd like to share it with you because what I like about this clip, real or not, is just the fantasy that runs through my head of seeing something like this in the woods. Imagine you're at your winter cabin, you go outside to take a sip of your hot coffee, and in the distance between the trees, hidden by the falling snow, you spot this. What a story you'd have to tell. In the past, we've seen videos of UFOs in snowy areas. Could this be another one? Or is this just CGI? Again, I don't have much information about this video, but I thought it'd be cool to share because it looks pretty freaking awesome. Next is this photo, which is anonymous, and I really liked. The only info I have on it is that it was taken in 1947, but it looks a lot like the fabled German Haunebu craft, complete with the spheres at the bottom and that classic shape. The Polaroid being protected in plastic is what makes me want to believe that this is an authentic photo. But in the interest of having fun with our UFO subject, we have to learn to sit back sometimes and just appreciate a photo like this and add it to our bank of possible UFO images. Next, let me ask, how many of you believe that aliens abduct or sometimes just come down and talk to people? Well, have I got a story for you. Not sure if you've heard about this one, but back in 1957, on a fine October night in Francavilla in Italy, yes I said Dr. Robert Pinotti, age 73, was visited by human-like beings who he says took him upon their spacecraft. He claims he managed to take some photos of the inside of the spaceship, and here they are. The UFO he was in, Dr. Pinotti claims was about 24 meters in diameter, and that the inside cabin was just about 10 meters in size. He even managed to take a shot of one of the aliens, here it is, wearing some sort of sunglasses to protect its eyes. But what strikes me about this photo is the weirdness of it all. I can't find anything in this photo other than the seat that looks like something normal, something recognizable, which reminded me of this statement by Bob Lazar when he talks about being inside the ship.
It's a really weird looking thing, but there was almost nothing other than a small foldable hatchway that that looked recognizable. Everything was really unworldly, to pick on it, a way to describe it.
So everything here just looks strange, and this just sets my imagination ablaze. You know what I mean? Wouldn't it be awesome that we're really looking at the inside of an extraterrestrial craft? Well, no one but Dr. Pinotti knows. Finally, this clip was sent in by one of you guys, and I found it very, very interesting. Let's watch it first and then discuss. Now, the subscriber who sent this in wishes to remain anonymous, and I totally respect that. But he told me that he was driving along and he saw a car he really liked in front of him, so he began to film it. And upon reviewing the video, he noticed that a sphere seems to come into view. As you can see, whatever comes in moves up, then down, at which point you can actually see the reflection of it on the car. Then it shoots straight up rather quickly. Now, here's kind of what bothers me. If we slow down the footage, we can track this thing come into the video, but as it ascends quickly, it quite frankly just disappears. Notice these frames after it flies up. I can't find it anywhere on the following frames. And sure, the white fan doesn't really help, but I would think something that size would appear in more frames after it heads upwards. What could this be? Could this be simply road debris that got kicked up between traffic? Or is this something else? I mean, we do have to note that this thing remains very sphere-like in shape as it comes in and to close proximity to the car. And if I were to say this is something paranormal, I would guess it would be some sort of entity or ghost. But then again, you know, it could be just road debris. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Now let's talk about our monthly hoodie giveaway. Each month for the foreseeable future, we will be giving away one free embroidered pullover hoodie to one lucky subscriber. All you have to do is be subscribed, leave a comment on an eligible video, and read the full list of rules at loveUFOshop.com/rules to be entered into our sweepstakes. Don't want to wait to get a hoodie? Then you can shop merch at loveUFOshop.com and help support this channel. We always really appreciate it. And that'll do it for today's video. Please consider subscribing so you don't miss any of this content. And as always, this is Jesse. Let's keep searching for the truth because we love the UFOs. Till next time.